So today I'll be talking about a man known as Jackie Robinson. You've probably all heard of him for a good reason. He was the first African American player to play in the Major League Baseball. Now, this isn't just about baseball. You can kind of see this is about some about the civil rights movement and stuff. So Jackie Robinson, he broke down a ton of color barriers and really helped start with the whole civil rights movement and Martin Luther King Jr. and all that. Actually, Martin Luther King Jr. later said about Robinson that he said, talking about Robinson, this guy didn't know how easy he made my job with what he did. Because Jackie Robinson came first. He played before Martin Luther King had started giving all of his speeches about civil rights, and so he was really like one of the first people to start doing this. He was really alone out there. He faced an enormous obstacle of racism that had been drilled into these people since they were born. Before I get into all of that, I'll just go over his early life. Jack Robinson, he was born on the last day of February in 1919 in Georgia. He was the youngest of 5, and after 1 year, his father left him. Right after that, they moved to Pasadena here in California. His family was poor, and his mother worked a lot of just little small jobs to try to keep an income for the family. In high school, his older brothers encouraged him to pursue his passion with sports. He played 4 sports in high school and in college. He attended Pasadena Junior College, batting leadoff for the baseball team. While at the junior college, something other than Jackie's athletic ability became apparent. Jackie Robinson hated racism. He was known to be somewhat violent against racism. And there was one incident where he was arrested and received a 2-year suspended sentence for protesting the detention of one of his friends by the police. Well, after that, after his junior college graduation, he went to UCLA. This is in 1939. He became the school's first athlete to win varsity letters in 4 sports. Those were baseball, basketball, football, and track. Oddly enough, baseball was considered his worst sport while he was at UCLA. He played 1 season and had a batting average of .097. If anyone remembers from my last speech, that's actually really bad. That really means out of 1,000 at-bats, he would really get a hit 97 of those times. And that's really not a lot. Out of 1,000 at-bats, that's really bad. Most people are at least 200 and 300 is usually good. Well, he left UCLA just before his graduation, pursued his football career, and in 1942 was drafted and assigned to an Army Cavalry unit in Fort Riley, Kansas. Now, even the Army back then was somewhat racist. Jack Robinson was asked to move to the back of the bus, and you might remember someone from a little something like this, Rosa Parks. Well, he didn't move back to the back of the bus the same way she did, and this resulted in him being transferred to a different Army unit. Immediately after being transferred, the commander there charged Jackie Robinson with multiple charges, including public drunkenness. Now, the interesting part is Jackie did not drink. Now, around this time, there was some talk of the MLB signing. Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay. Right here. Jackie Robinson never saw action and continued to serve in the military until 1944 when he received an honorable discharge. He came home from serving his country to find it corrupted. He had to use separate drinking fountains, separate restrooms, and separate restaurants, separate hotels, and it was very segregated there. If we move past that and go into his baseball career, Jackie Robinson he accepted a contract into the Negro Leagues playing, that's the only place he could play back then since he wasn't white. Around this time there was some talk of the major league teams signing a player from the Negro Leagues, but nobody because this was kind of a dangerous idea around the time because of people's opinions about this. Nobody really wanted to go far like that. There was one man, however, who did take it seriously, and he began scouting there. This man was known as Branch Rickey, and he was the general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers. He went through many players before he finally found Robinson, and he was at first worried about Jackie's temper because he had had some issues in the past, just with violence and everything. But he saw past this, and he saw Jackie's passion for the sport, and he saw how much he hated racism, and he would love to change it. So, an interview was scheduled between Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey was really interested in making sure that Jackie Robinson could hold up to all the abuse and insults that would be fired at him on the ball field, because he couldn't fight back. He couldn't get in a fight with one of the players, or people would blame it all on Jackie Robinson. He'd be kicked out of the leagues and ruin their chances of changing anything. Now, Jackie was confused about this at first, and here's a quote. He asked, "You want a player with the guts not to fight back?" But Branch Rickey, he replied, "No, I want a player with the guts not to fight back." This is what was being asked of Jackie Robinson. Well, he agreed to turn the other cheek, and he signed a contract playing on the Dodgers farm team, the Montreal Royals. People were mean to him, and nobody treated him fairly on the Royals, but despite everything, he kept playing. He started in 1946, and he played shortstop. He played some first base, too. And everything was segregated, like I said. He couldn't stay at the hotel with the rest of his team. Instead, he had to stay at the home of a friendly politician that was located there. Restaurants that the team went to would not accept him, and people treated him poorly. He kept playing, and he kept quiet, just like Branch said. He didn't let them get to him. When Jackie Robinson was called up to the Dodgers, things got even worse, because now he's in the big leagues. Nobody liked this. They shouted hurtful things from the stands, and umpires were extremely prejudiced. They called many unfair calls against him. Also, we don't realize today how, the game of baseball is really clean, especially at the professional level now. We have really high-paid arms, high-speed cameras, but back then it wasn't like this. You could get away with a lot more, and some people played the game a lot dirtier. Well, you can see how Jackie Robinson was really a target for all this. He was spiked, shoved, and just generally injured on the field. There was one time where he received a 7-inch gash in his leg from being spiked by an opposing player. Now, despite all this, he kept playing, he kept doing what he was doing, and he was really successful. He was a great baseball player. Even Jackie's teammates, however, they were against him at first. They tried to create a petition that would basically say that they wouldn't play with him, and so he couldn't be on the team. Well, that didn't work out for them, and they were eventually forced to play with him, and they realized something that the rest of the world would find out much later. Is Jackie Robinson, he was really just the same as everyone else. Now, he finished his last season with a batting average of .297. That's pretty good. Interestingly enough, his on-base percentage was almost 100 points higher at .383. Now, the difference between this is, for batting average, it only measures when you get on base on a hit. On base percentage, you can get walked or pegged. Jackie was thrown out a lot by the pitchers, as you can tell from the difference between these two stats. Jackie Robinson's story, it really shows a character. It shows someone who didn't give up and who stood up to the challenges and fought for what he believed in. With the world against him, this man stood up and he faced the challenge. Ultimately, Jackie Robinson, with some help, accomplished something that most people believed to be impossible. Whatever their opinion on racial equality at the time, most people believed that things would truly never change. For example, maybe some of you have heard of a man called Hank Aaron. Well, he was a huge home run hitter, and oh no, sorry, I skipped because my mouse wasn't working. But yeah, he was a huge home run hitter, and he grew up right around the time Jackie Robinson got started. However, his dad told him when he was little something that just would have crushed me inside. His father told his son at a young age that no black baseball player would ever be allowed on a major league field. I can imagine this just would have crushed the kid, killed his ball and soak. However, I guess Hank had that in-your-face attitude towards his dad because he grew up to be a huge home run king in the big leagues, along with many other people at the time. Jackie Robinson was a true inspiration to this man. Hank Aaron later said, "Jackie Robinson changed my life by breaking baseball's color line." He also described Jackie Robinson as his hero. After his baseball career, Jackie Robinson continued to speak for civil rights. Oftentimes, he was more requested than Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah, people would rather hear Jackie Robinson speak than Martin Luther King Jr. Why? Well, you can ask Hank Aaron or any of the other people that this man